Alrighty then, folks, welcome back to Axis. Okay, so this will be the battle episode for the first episode. I had done everything last episode, so we should be fine. There's no decisions to take just yet. If you're new, you have to take decisions to invade certain places. We'll cover that in a few turns, because right now we can't invade anywhere. I believe that first event comes on turn 3. I'm not sure, though. I'd have to look it up. But we are going to do battles now. Yep, the enemy gets to move. So the enemy gets to know what everything we did is. We don't get to know what they did. Till they've already done it. Which is stupid, but still. It's how games like this happen. And it's 37 against 8, so we should be okay. We're going to try to primarily use our Gazas without losing anyone. Yeah, okay. Okay, that guy's really old. I didn't remember that. So, how this game works is you have stacks of units. You can have up to 3 units per stack. Sometimes there's ace units, sometimes there's not. Certain mobile armors are only single units per stack, but the Zeong is not one of them. We're going to lead with Haman in the Zeong because we need to train her, because every unit has stats. Right now she's a rank B with 300 experience. When we get her up to 500 experience, she'll get rank A, and when we get to 9999, she'll get to rank S. When she's rank S, she'll be the strongest she can possibly get. Everyone has inherent new type levels. Most people who are old types don't get any new type abilities, but Haman is a new type, and we know this. She becomes a new type at rank C, so right now she's at a rank 2 new type, because when she got to rank C, she became a level 1 new type. When she got to rank B, she became a level 2 new type. So, at rank B, she has a little bit better than standard new type powers. Nowhere does it tell you at all about new type powers, but she has them. It's just something you kind of have to know, which I have played this a lot, so I do know it. But yeah, so we need to try to get her as high as we can so she'll be able to do as much damage and be able to be unbeatable, because eventually we're going to have to fight Char, who has Kess, and Kess is an asshole. Especially, well, it's even worse if you're not using cheat codes. So, first things first, we're going to move everyone to go attack the enemy, because we want to get as close as we can. Carrier ships and everything heal a bit of HP and energy per turn. The top bar is HP, the bottom bar is energy. Yes, you can run out of energy in this game. It isn't like the anime where you magically have unlimited power, and your mobile suit wouldn't last about 18 minutes. Every turn, every attack, every move, you lose a little bit of energy. So you have to wait. You have to wait a little while, and it'll come back. If you stand in a base, it'll heal you, I think, 1/5 of your HP and 1/5 of your energy. I don't know if that's a flat number or not, but that's generally how it works. So having carriers is really useful. If you watch any of my older playthroughs, I don't use carriers. I'm not a big fan of them, because the amount you spend on a Musai, you could spend on 2 or 3 other units. But that's my own opinion. Carriers are, in fact, really nice. As far as what the enemy have, I try to tell you at the beginning, but I generally forget. They have a Salamis ship. I don't know which version of the Salamis it is. It's really hard to tell. They have 2 Hyzaks. They have a Hyzak, a GM2, and something else underneath. I believe that's another GM2, or it might be a GM Sniper. You never know. And then these are 2 Magellans, because why wouldn't they bring, 1-year war tech? Especially useless 1-year war tech. They're not Birminghams or anything. Birmingham classes are dangerous. Magellans, not so much. Oh, and ships can spread particles. Minovsky particles, that's what this is. We aren't going to be using that right now because they're not useful at this point in the game. We just need to get to the enemy first. But Minovsky particles affect everyone's attack, everyone's melee. It makes them weaker, so you want to spread a bunch of them over your people and not over the enemy. One useful thing about Musais is they only have a 1-to-1 spread ratio, so they can only spread to the 6 spots around them. Whereas stuff like the Guazin, Guabon, has a 2 ratio, so they can spread it 2 spots in front of them, which means if the enemy was right in front of us, we would spread it on them too. So Musais are pretty useful for that. But for now, we don't really need to worry about it. terrain and other things do affect combat in this game. Terrain, what time of day it is, etc., etc. That's all important, but we're in space, so I think there's a flat 0 for open space. In certain colonies and stuff, they'll have debris fields or asteroids, whatever you want to call it. It's actually something like universe field in Japanese. I can't remember the exact term. But those give you a flat 20% bonus, so you can take advantage of that. I never do because terrain's weird in this one, and none of the calculations make sense. Though if you hack the game, you can find out the calculations. So Gazas are transformable mobile suits, so you can transform them. They can move a little bit farther when you transform them, except for in this case they can't. But we're using that Gaza to go capture that base. When you capture bases, if you have 2, you get this like supply line kind of thing. This will heal a little bit of energy while standing on it, but it'll also allow a bonus to movement, which is the really useful thing. It also appears the Hyzax and the other units are running away because we have more troops than they do. We outnumber them by a certain amount, so they run away. I'm not sure what amount dictates the AI to run away, they just do. They're weird like that. Yeah, we're going to try to get Haman to destroy that ship, because they leave one unit in the center to defend it, because if they were to have this guy run away, then we'd instantly win the battle, and they have a problem with that for some reason. So, we're going to try to catch them. Also, in the Guazin or Guaban, we have a bunch of Gazas, which we'll use to attack next turn. But for now, we're just going to approach them. You're going to transform, you're going to move over to here, you're going to capture this base. Don't really need it anymore, but it could help. Right now, it looks like our Dom 2s are the farthest moving unit. Oh, and now the Solidon? No, wrong thing. This ship's running away. Can't remember the exact name right now. Sorry. Salamis. Yeah, I got it. I'd figure it out eventually. Yeah, it's gonna get away before we get to destroy it, but oh well. Oh no, they moved it back. Never mind then. We have a flapper here. This is basically a radar Zaku. Just a little bit better than a radar Zaku. And so we tried to scan them. We actually failed at it because, you know, they've been spreading particles this whole time. Which helps them. But we're gonna go melee it, so who cares? And we're gonna move our ships a little bit closer. Ships can attack at a range, who would have guessed? That's mainly what you use ships for, is long-range artillery. Since units can counterattack when you attack them, since we have somebody meleeing them, they can only counterattack the people meleeing them. So we're taking advantage of that. We're having all our ships fire on them from a range, while one of our guys melees them. And do these guys have a range attack? Gazas do not have a range attack, apparently. Do transformed Gazas have a range attack? They do. Okay, so turning into mobile armor form magically makes them shoot farther. So we're transforming them all. If you want to highlight them all, you press square, or you can press triangle to automatically highlight the first 3 available units. And then after you get through that, you press start, and you can move them all 3 as a group. If you don't press start, you can only move 1, because this game's stupid like that. Yeah. Yeah, we really should have the newest CL attack as well. Which, this thing has an eye field if I remember correctly, so we could be okay. Yeah, it has an eye field. It only has an eye field, it's not even bipedal. When we get Char, I think we'll eventually get the newest CL too, but for now we don't have it. Alright then. There's also someone in that Dom. Oh, that's a Salamis Kai. Not actually a Salamis Kai, but what they call a Salamis Kai. She's already talking about Glemmy, when that hasn't happened yet. You'll eventually notice a lot of the dialogue's ridiculous. Like, Char during the final battle against Amuro, not being surprised that they developed mobile suits, that the Federation developed mobile suits. That has in fact happened to me, and I've recorded it. So just kind of ignore the dialogue. It's not important. I'm hoping these guys run away. They have 2 Hyzaks, a Marasai, a Hyzak on top, a GM2, and something else underneath. I think it's another Marasai, but it might be an Action Zaku. You never know. And then down here they have a stack of GM Kells, a Salamis, and a Salamis. And nothing up here. So we're good there. If we want to cheat, we did bring a bunch of Jikos this time, so we can take advantage of those. Jikos have the special ability to deploy an energy field. It takes a lot of their energy, but it means that no energy attacks can break that field, either yours or theirs. So you can take advantage of that if you really need to. Like, if you're gonna move up really slowly, you can kind of cheese it to where, like, you have them cover each other while covering a ship and slowly creep up. That actually does work. Oh, hey, the enemies are running away. Who would have guessed? So it looks like they have 2 Hyzaks left, though I believe there's 1 Hyzak in here to defend that base, and this one's just running away. We're going to transform some Gazas, and there's no easy way to transform all of them, though I wish there was. And we're going to have these Gazas go fly up there and attack. Yeah, they're in mobile armor form, so they can't actually capture a base. Damn, I didn't consider that, but oh well. Yeah, mobile armors generally can't capture bases, but they can do everything else, so they're very useful. I don't think in this campaign we'll be mass-producing big Zoms, but you can totally do it. It's a valid tactic. The only downside is big Zoms move, like, very, very slowly. Generally on the planet, they can only move 1 or 2 spaces per turn, so it takes forever for them to get anywhere. Though in this one, we'll probably be mass-producing Quinn Mothas, if we get that far. We might get betrayed by Glummy before that, you never know. I believe for Glummy to not betray us, we have to get a Gundam, or a Psycho Gundam Mark II, but I could be wrong. I don't exactly remember that far into the future. We're gonna move there. Ships can capture bases if you want them to. Very useful, though rarely do I use it. Actually, I use it more often than not, to be completely honest. Other annoying thing about the Popula is it has like 1 or 2 less movement than everyone else, so that Popula is always going to be in the back. We should probably just get rid of it. Plus, if we recycle it now, we get to reuse some of the resources, which would be nice. But the enemy in the center is a Hyzak, which only has a 1-to-1 attack range, so if we can engage it in range combat, it can't fire back, which is very useful. But we won't be reaching it this turn, just because we couldn't move far enough. There's very little you can do about that. We're not going to bring the Zaku through. We're not going to bring the Zaku Kais or the Jikos up, just because I don't want to lose them if we don't have to. Because eventually we'll get Hyzaks, and when we get Hyzaks, we'll be much better off. Because eventually we'll get Hyzaks, upgrade them to Marasais, be able to get rid of most of our units, and then for Marasais, I don't think we can do much with them, but we can always try. Can't do anything about that, or that. Send this guy over to here to make them think we're going to go try capturing that base again, which, if they think we're going to try capturing that base, they might go try to defend it for some reason. And we'll move everyone in position to attack them when they do. Battles have 5 phases. This is currently phase 5 of 5, so this battle will end as soon as this phase is over, or like this turn. And then next turn, like next in-game turn, we'll be able to start this battle again where we left off, which will have another 5 phases after that. Yeah, so they retreated a little bit. So we didn't end the battle, but we got close enough to where it's generally a good thing.
エウーゴのクアトロバジーナより通信が入っています。
Yeah.
回線を回します。
Quattro has come and he wants to talk to us.
ハマ、我々と同盟を結んでもらえないだろうか。ティターンズは我々にとって共通の敵だ。頼む。
He wants an alliance to take out the Titans. We do want that because we want him.
おう、我々の望み、ザビ家の復興は叶えてもらえるのだろうな。
もちろんだ。我々のスポンサーも承知している。
しかしお前は物の頼み方を知らん男と見える。
頼む、ハマ。
よかろう。約束は忘れるなよ。
エウーゴより旧アーバオワクーゼダンの門に対する攻略が要請されました。しかしティターンズの防衛体制は万全であり、攻略には困難が予想されます。
うん。アバオアクーにはアクシズを衝突させる。さすればアバオアクーもろともティターンズの戦力を一気に消滅させられよう。至急準備にかかれ。
了解しました。
So now there's this decision where we can go. Oh, no, it's not even a decision yet. There is going to be a decision where we can go hit the Gate of Zidane for no reason and break it apart. We're going to do that just because it destroys 90% of the units in there, which they currently have 20, so we'll destroy like 18. They're building some I don't even know. Some Isaacs. Okay then. The Titans are building some stuff that I don't know what it is. Yeah. Pizamu? Oh, wait, no, I know what those are. The first, the second, and the fourth are Psycho Gundams. It's good to know. Yeah, so we need to grab that as quickly as we can, because they take 3 turns to produce. So if we can destroy them before those 3 turns, they won't be building 3 Psycho Gundams, but they're gonna try. Okay, so we're gonna finally invest in technology. Investments like minimum investment, this will take 20 investments to tech up a level. We're currently level 18. Medium investment will take 10 turns, and then full investment, which will take 5 turns. We're gonna do medium. I like medium. It's a good balance of how much money you have right now, because we're not making very much. We're only making about 35 per turn. We're actually making very little, because open space doesn't gain us anything. But middle investment or medium investment, good balance of how much it costs towards how much the value is. When you start getting towards the end of the line, when you tech up a level, it costs more to research. So if you do a full investment right before you tech up, you can get the most value out of teching up. As far as this goes, this is our overview screen. Tells us what level our tech is. That bottom one is stolen tech, which all enemy tech is made into one category instead of 3 separate ones. We're currently at stolen tech 17, so if we steal an enemy tech that's at level 17 or below, we can develop it. But if we steal something that's higher, we can't. Which, our spying isn't at full yet, so we can't even steal anything, so it's not a big deal. If you look to the right of that, we have 80 units, 64 MSs, 5 ships, 1 mobile armor, which is the newest EL, and 10 additional, which is mostly the GCOs, I think. We have 1 production, those 1-1. Well, at the very top, that thing with green text and a black thing, that says Axis. That's our capital. Below that is how many production centers we have and how many territories we have, which we only have 1 right now. Or, yeah, we have 2 technically, but still. I'll tell you this now, you can look at the enemies. If you so desire, I don't use this screen, I find it cheap. I don't believe we should know that number, so I figure stuff out the hard way. Eventually, it'll even tell you the enemy tech level. You access this by pressing R1, or L1. It'll eventually tell you what tech level the enemy is at. I will never check this, don't ask me to. I don't want to. Oh, and at the bottom, that's our alignment, basically. The closer you get to the right is the more law you get. The closer which is the more good. The closer to the left is the more evil you get. For being good, you get, at 60% good, you get 10,000 free resources every 10 turns. At 70%, you get 10,000 free credits and resources. At 75, Anaheim Electronics give you a free investment every 10 turns. At 80, you get another 10,000 free credits. And then at 90, you get another 10,000 free resources. And then at full, you get a full investment every 10 turns from Anaheim Electronics. Now, the kicker is, for being evil, you get nothing. Eventually, when you get down to 20%, you get an ability to steal your enemy's designs, which you can do passively through stealing stuff anyway, which you don't lose alignment for. And when you get below 10% alignment, which is 100 or less, your production centers riot, your other places don't produce any credits, or don't produce anything, and your army stops responding to your orders, so they stop moving. There is no benefit to being evil in this game, except for Glemmy. When you're Glemmy, you can produce a bunch of Purus, for no reason. They're good Newtypes, and you can produce a shit ton of them. So Glemmy's the only one who can be evil. No one else, you ever need to be evil unless you want to join the Titans as the Federation. It's stupidly designed. If they had to give you some bonus to being evil, and there isn't one. That's why being the Titans is so annoying, is because they force you to be evil when there's no reason to be evil. Like, you get so much more for being good. And even though we border Solomon right now, we can't invade it because we don't have the decision. I was just checking if it worked. We don't have the decision to invade them either, so we just kind of have to sit here. Though, they're going to try to defend here for some reason, which is going to be funny. How far are we from developing stuff? We are 1 turn away from the Zaza. Goddamn useful units. Mostly for the planet, but we'll produce a couple for space for now. Oh, and if you're looking at this decision is for speech. This one is to steal 3,000 credits from the populace, or to raid the enemy. This makes you 100 or 20% more evil and gets you 3,000 credits. Only 3,000. So you can produce 1 additional unit for doing these. This one steals 3,000 resources, and this one at the bottom trades 30,000 resources for 30,000 credits. Though the value depreciates the more you use this ability. This one is very goddamn useful, and we'll use it to mostly do development later, or research later. Which, yeah, that'll come in about 10 episodes time, I think. Yeah, so we're just gonna end the turn. We're about to be asked if we want to talk to Jamatov, but I really just want to end this battle so we can go smack the Gate of Zidane, then we'll go capture side 1, and then after we capture side 1, we'll go grab Solomon and kill the rest of the Titans. I was about to say kill Axis, but that's not right. Okay, so do we have any ace pilots in? Well, we have a bunch of ace pilots in this stack. If we transform, can you move there? You cannot, so we're going to keep them transformed. Okay, so we're going to kind of cheat a little bit. We're going to attack them at a range. We're not going to have anyone else attack, though we are going to scan the enemy. When they're gray, they're unscanned, and you have a negative 20% chance to hit them. Since we scan them, we have an equal chance to hit them, which isn't very high since it's out of range. But we can also look at the enemy and see if they have any pilots or anything. This is the Hyzak. This is currently in its base equipment. It's equipment A, which has a Zaku machine gun. The laser rifle, or the laser machine gun they get, lowers their melee damage, but increases their range damage, and it's so much nicer than the Zaku machine gun. The only downside is they waste a lot of energy. But, yeah, it does 100 at range, plus an additional 40 if you're lucky, but there's only a 60% chance to hit, and then they do 96 melee damage, but there's only a 70% chance to hit. That bar below the, weapon data and all that stuff is what environments they're good in. That first one is flat ground. Well, I think that's technically farmland, but that's flat ground. The second one is forest. No. The second one is mountain. The third one is I don't know what the second one is. The third one's mountain. The fourth one's forest. The fifth one is sky. The one after that is atmosphere or also sky. Then the one in the very back is space. which is also universe, weirdly enough. But yeah, so these guys have a benefit in space, but basically everyone has benefit in space if you work in space. Like, the Dom 2 works in space, and it only has a benefit in space since it's space only. The Action Zaku, the Jiko, the whatever this ship is called. Yeah, so we're just gonna let them destroy the Hyzak. We won't destroy it this turn, we'll destroy it next turn, but it's fine. Yeah, bald guy. We'll eventually give him a bow, but that's just because I like bows. So, we destroyed 2 of his units. While he is in his own base, he can heal every turn because he's in a base, but since we destroyed 2 of his units, he can't replace them, so he's forever only a single unit, which is useful for us because, well, we can now kill him even easier. And also, excuse me, I've found out recently, if you have only ace pilots get experience for killing people. Other times it doesn't really matter, but everyone who attacks a unit gets experience for it. So having multiple people, like all 3 here, attack the same unit is fine because they all get the same amount of experience. Which will not be much because it's just a Hyzak, but still. And you don't get experience till you actually kill them, even if you destroy 2 suits. But if you look at the bottom, see that red thing? That's their experience number. This guy is 55, so he's basically worthless. Guy has 155, so he's a little bit better, but when he gets to 300, he'll get a B, and when he gets a B, his stats will go up a little bit. You can find out what exactly the stats are by going to the wiki. They have that translated as well. But I think it's ranged, melee, armor, speed, charisma, and then endurance. And charisma's for if they're a high military rank. They can create an aura that'll give other people points. Endurance is for if they get wounded in battle, how long it takes them to come back. Main gun, melee, armor, and speed are self-explanatory if you've ever played a game before. Those are flat modifiers that add on to things.
アマン様、ティターンズのジャミトフ・ハイマンがこちらに接触を試みています。エウゴとの約束を果たす前に、ジャミトフと直接お話になってみてはいかがでしょうか。
Do we want to talk to Jamitov? This will break our alliance with the AUG. No.
いや、ジャミトフのことだ。上辺では要求を受け入れたとしても、最後には我々を裏切るに違いない。ティターンズとの交渉は我らの力を見せつけた後でなければ意味がないだろう。
開発部より
Jamitov can suck it because, you know, fuck him. But now that the Zaza's developed, we can use it. We can produce more of them too. This is the Zaza booster. If we transform it, it'll become a normal Zaza. But the booster is much more useful because it moves like 8 spaces or something ridiculous like that. But because we developed it, we get the prototype unit. And it's 3 per thing. If we want to, we can make that into the normal Zaza. The normal Zaza isn't as useful because in the booster form, it gets a range, which is really useful. And if you notice, it does 216 per turn. That's multiplied by 3, which is 748. Yeah, 48. So it's 748. So if you have 3 of these in a stack, you can do 236 damage per turn, which a Psycho Gundam has 2250, I believe, which means you can destroy a Psycho Gundam per turn. And these guys are traditional weapons, they're not laser weapons, so eye fields aren't affected by them. They can murder a big Zom. Like, they literally just tear them apart. So we're going to build quite a few of these. Oh, and they're exactly at the bottom of the list. Though they cost 5,000 resources, so we're not going to build a bunch of these. Instead, we're just going to build 2 more. So we have 3. But they only take 1 turn to build. That's nice. Do we have the decision yet? We do not. Yeah, we can't do anything about that. We can't invade out yet. It's getting about time, but yeah. So, it's about time, folks. That'll be the end of this episode. If you liked it, you should like. Next episode, we'll invade Side 1 and Zidane. Stop them from building Psycho Gundams. But Building some more Hyzax and a GM Cannon 2 for some reason. Nothing in Side 3 yet. We want to capture Side 3 as long as we can. Or as soon as we can. There's no real benefit to it. Well, unless you're fighting Galemi, which then that's his capital, but having Side 3 is like our southern border for a while. And as long as we leave these two, the AUG won't attack them because the AUG is weird and doesn't invade the Titans. Even if the Titans isn't defending it at all for any reason. So we're just going to leave those two, and we'll have a border to the south with Granada. This is the AUG capital, so we can't invade it till we take out all of the rest of their production centers, which means the rest of the Earth. And eventually, they'll even have new Gundams, so we need to watch out. But, folks, that'll be that. This'll be this. Goodbye.